Hello, Catherine. How many of us have heard that cheerful greeting or something similar when we call Union and Ann answers the phone? Or when we drop into her office to ask a question, make a request, ask for help or information, or share what is going on in our life. And whatever our purpose, Ann turns to us, figuratively or literally, and gives us her undivided attention. No matter that Ann's job description goes on for pages, literally, that her duties and responsibilities touch every aspect of Union's ministries and community, Ann responds in a way that is calm, reassuring, clear, thoughtful, and, yes, opinionated. One of my favorite biblical adjectives is steadfast. Ann personifies steadfast devotion to Union, its members, its staff, to every detail, nook, and cranny of its building and grounds. Ann, you're our head and our heart, our institutional memory. Ann is often the first face of Union to those outside the congregation. Some aspect of virtually every project that Union undertakes arrives in Ann's lap sooner or later. How many of us have approached Ann with one idea or another, or plan, or project, to have Ann say to us, "Have you thought about?" Or, "My concern with that is," and then Ann proceeds to offer feedback and suggestions intended to make that project successful. Ann is always connecting the dots between all that goes on in this very active congregation, and she so often has provided the glue that connects us one to another. And Ann does all of this without fanfare and with that characteristic Scottish frugality, modesty, and no-nonsense approach. Ann is flexible. Ann has a sense of humor. In developing interview questions for Ann's successor, we recently asked Ann to come up with some scenarios that she has faced. You can't make this stuff up. Ann has been asked to handle raccoons in the garbage dumpster, reconnect lost children with their caregivers, help those in need and crisis who come knocking at our doors asking for assistance. She's been asked to make the building warmer, make the building colder, put on her wellies to deal with floods and rain, carry on through power outages, and many other literal and figurative acts of God. And she has done all of this with her characteristic aplomb. Ann oversees the well-being of our buildings and grounds with an attention to detail and a ferocity that few of us can equal even in our own homes. Woe be to the contractor or vendor who does not meet Ann's high standards. And we are fortunate that Ann likes to cook. Ann has firmly held opinions about what constitutes a proper meal. I see her nodding. Ann's hot breakfast before building and grounds workdays, leadership council retreats, and dinners before chick flicks, just to name a few, are memorable and legendary. Ann is there for us in times of need. For 19 years, Ann has lent a caring and listening ear when we and our loved ones have struggled. She has helped and supported us when loved ones died and there were services to plan and details to attend to. She's comforted us in our grief, listened to our disappointments, and celebrated our joys with us. On a personal note, I want to express my gratitude to you, Ann, for the support and assistance you've offered me over the last 3 years. You've really served as a role model for me, always showing equanimity, humor, kindness, the long view, and wisdom. You saved me from myself many a time. And I and we are so grateful that you have shared your gifts with Union for the past 19 years. You will be sorely missed. We are happy that you will have more time for family, for travel, for golf, for baseball. But please, please, keep in touch with us and know that you are woven into the very fabric, the history, the heart and soul of Union. We love you.
This morning's scripture reading is the first 10 verses from chapter 35 of Isaiah. The wilderness and the dry land shall be glad. The desert shall rejoice and blossom. Like the crocus, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given to it, the majesty of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord, the majesty of our God. Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who are of a fearful heart, be strong, do not fear. Here is your God. He will come with vengeance, with terrible recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the speechless sing for joy. For water shall break forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. The burning sand shall become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water. The haunt of jackals shall become a swamp. The grass shall become reeds and rushes. A highway shall be there, and it shall be called the Holy Way. The unclean shall not travel on it, but it shall be for God's people. No traveler, not even fools, shall go astray. No lion shall be there, nor shall any ravenous beast come upon it. They shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there, and the ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with singing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Here ends the reading. Thanks be to God.
Sometime early in my tenure at Union, there was a preschool mom with I believe one child in the nursery school and twin girls, twin redheaded girls. And every now and then, the mom would come by with her babies, and she would leave them with you, Ann, in their stroller for a minute or two or 10 while she tended some paperwork or a conversation down the hall. And there you were when they came in, quick to ooh and ah, those sounds stretching down the hall to my ears. We shared a small book a little while back. It's called Epitaphs of the Great War. It's just some words that are on gravestones from young people that were killed in the Battle of the Somme. It's the absolute madness of the Great War brought home in words of remembrance from their families. You and I shared that little book. And I wondered what kind of crazy people want to share a book about gravestones from World War I. There's a line I've heard a number of times from you. You like to say that you are always happy to welcome house guests, no matter who they are or where they are from, whether it's America or Europe, and that you'd even be glad to pick them up from the airport. But if they've got the money to fly to Kennedy, they've got the money for a cab. Three small moments: solemnity, empathy, tenderness and care, laughter and your biting wit. The prophet Isaiah speaks words of hope for future joy, words of hope for dry seasons in the present that will become seasons of bloom in later years. Every time someone has said to you in the last couple of months that we aren't sure what we're going to do without you, you've brushed those concerns away quite quickly. I suppose one might argue that it really isn't your problem anymore after all. But the other side of it is that you've always thought that things were going to turn out okay with some bravery. If one sticks to one's values, if you work hard, you offer neighborly kindness, and you put your best foot forward. As Katrina said earlier in the welcome, we're not promised perfection or that things will work out the way that we intend, just that life becomes a less complicated equation when you do the next right thing. You are the embodiment of that, of living life with a particular kind of joy, hopefulness even, that if you are fully present with people, things are going to turn out okay. You help us to see the light in that third candle on the wreath, the candle of joy. Today is the Sunday of joy, and it has been nothing but a joy to work with you. Not simply because you're good at what you do, but because you're good, decent, kind, tender. The kind of person who would stop in an instant to rock a crying child. The kind of person who can appreciate history in the depths of other people's sadness. A person of great empathy and kindness. A person quick to laugh, but even quicker to help. Never a moment of doubt, not once in my time here, about your work ethic. That's true. There's never been a moment of doubt about whether you knew how to do your job. There was never any doubt about that. There was never any doubt about whether you would approach each day with your best foot forward, because you always did that. But more importantly, there's never been any doubt about your heart, your values. And in and among this group of Christians, you showed us again and again in your time here what it looks like to be a person of faith, to live life well, to live out your vocation well, to be the person that others lean into because of who you are. When it came to doing the functions of the administrator of Union Congregational Church, you rocked it. But that was nothing in comparison to the way in which you have lived life with integrity among us. I am so grateful for you.